basically, let us see that what and where we stand. Water supply to a city, domestic use, mainly in our areas, a dam or river or a large lake, sharing by states and the countries. And rainwater, decentralized and most sustainable. Then the other source is groundwater, unlimited, free for all. You just name it. I don't think anyone in the world can beat India in this regard. Groundwater exploitation. I don't know this word whether exploitation will suit. If there is something beyond that, I think they should use that. Treated used water. Oh God, I don't say that it's wastewater because it's a used water. Yes, let us see that how we take it. Basically, say you take any, whether it's an apartment, whether it's a city, municipal city corporation, the individual homes. Please take it away. Please take it away. We don't want this used water. But in my view, that can play a very vital role, and it's a resource. You all agree. These are some of the facts. Yeah, like see, Bangalore city has the highest number of metered water connections. Dual plumbing, it's compulsory now for most of the new apartments or even the layouts. Each apartment separate water meter. I think if you see here, the accountability is very, very important. Unfortunately, the accountability not only for individuals or apartments, even the utility accountability we need to consider as a city as a whole, because we are all responsible collectively. It is not one individual and all that. Let's try to see that how this can be met and where we have erred. I can definitely boast about Bangalore because it has the highest number of metered connections, and then religiously I think the meter readings have been collected and then built. There are numbers which are quite easily available to know what is the consumption and who uses how much of water. Second, another example, Hyderabad has streamlined tanker or lorry water supply using IoT. Some of the examples I'm trying to see that how each one has done some good role, and can we take something from this. I'm against tanker water supply or lorry supply, but unfortunately, no, we can't do away with this, because when we don't have a piped water supply which can provide 24/7, 365 days water, there are many other players which will come. But Hyderabad became quite smart. Hyderabad Water Supply Board, what they did was, yes, anybody can supply water through a tanker to anybody. And anyone can take a tanker water supply, but there are a few conditions. They developed an app, very simple app. So if you want water in your house through a tanker, you go to the app and then click a button. So you are allotted a tanker of water. That you get a that is one time the number you get. That number, whatever the number you get, you need to give it to somebody. So what will happen is this definitely trigger into this this water supply, Hyderabad Water Supply Board, and there every tanker supply fellow private person has been registered there, and he has to the local area person whoever has the tanker get the number, and then the first come first basis of this allotment goes to him, and through the app you will go and collect the water by through this Hyderabad water supply. So there is no borewell water, tanker or tank water or any other water supplied by this private tanker person. He uses the same city supply which is processed and quality is assured, and then he comes back, and because of the location he delivers the water to this house. He can get the charges for the transportation, and then once you give that OTP what you get to this person, he get the encashment for transporting. The money goes to the system, the water supply system. The quality of water is assured. The accountability from the entire city is maintained. How much goes through the piped water supply? How much goes through the tanker supply? No other water is supplied. Can we take a lead from this? For example, in Bangalore or Chennai, I know water is supplied from I don't know how many numbers. There are so many operators who supply water. And from where they get water, nobody knows. There are absolutely no record. In the first place, in any city for that matter, whether it's Bangalore, Hyderabad, or any other city, no one knows how many borewells are there, who operates them, how much water they want. Can we build accountability by having water metered from all sources? If that is the case, then we know where the city stands. We should have a balance sheet to see that how much water we are using and from where it comes. Very easy to do that. These are the two examples what I can give from Chennai. What an example, classic example, where in the entire country, people were just thinking, talking about it, but Chennai implemented it close to 2 decades back. Rainwater harvesting with the iron fist. My God, that lady you should consider. Any house inside this city should have rainwater harvesting. And, forget about the techniques and how you do it and all. A pipe should go allow the water to go into the ground, and rainwater harvesting. Otherwise, the electricity is cut. You can comment on negative side of how draconian or whatever it is, but the kind of enforcing these things to see that the future of Chennai depends on rainwater which is harvested and the sustainability is brought in. This is an example. Simla, Chandigarh. See here. Simla, it's in Himachal Pradesh where there is there's so many rivers having fresh water which is flowing there. They had serious crisis for water. They announced 5,000 rupee penalty for a overflowing tank. And it is not that they have this marshals or somebody going around. They said that any citizen who takes a photograph of a overflowing tank of any this fine is levied and this incentive is given to them. Similarly, Chandigarh did that. 5,000 rupee penalty for watering lawn or washing cars with hose pipes. These are some examples to show that how we can see that there is one is compulsion. Second one is making people aware about these problems. Third one is what the utility, the larger institution or the government can do about this. On the other hand, see this, Delhi. Free 20,000 liters of water to every home in Delhi. Do you have any incentive to conserve water? Do you have any incentive to harvest rainwater? Do you have any incentive to reuse the processed or the used water or the wastewater processed? Where do we go? Let us take some examples. Where are we heading? Hydro-pneumatic water supply. Many of you will not agree with me, but I will tell you my experience, what has happened. Zero water storage. I've been working with in the last 10 years in some of the villa plots where there's a large, that's a premium group, the high-end villas in Bangalore, large apartments. Zero water storage in any of these homes. Somewhere somebody stores and then there is a pressurized water which is pumped all the way to their house. Now, the east of Bangalore, one of the costliest or the rich, the very high-end villa community, where from the last 10 years we are trying to put our all this together to see that they implement conservation measures, rainwater harvesting, whatnot. None of these houses have a tank to store their rainwater. How do they have? And if you ask them to recharge into the ground, the builder has absolutely no clue how to do it, and most of them have basement built like that because these people have returned from US and then they have built several floors and one floor is below that level. How do we recharge water? The basement getting flooded, leaked all over, nowhere. And the builder has, the promoter of the property said, no, you cannot do anything inside the property. We have done rainwater harvesting. In a peripheral area, there are few small holes built for groundwater recharge. Why only for those villas? Large apartments. Many large apartments, yeah, this hydro-pneumatic supply, and there is no storage which can compensate for the requirement. Take, for example, Bangalore city itself. Recently, the chief secretary, because of the BWSSP initiative, the policy which I was part of it when we drafted, every square meter of roof area, there has to be at least 20 liters of water storage. It got changed. Chief Secretary recently announced it should be 60 liters for every square meters of roof area what you have. The building should have rainwater harvesting and they should have storage place. How many of us have it? Where is the storage? At a very conservative number which we take from the property tax file of BBMP, that is Brihat Bangalore Mahanagara Palike, 2.5 million properties, just a small 5,000 liters, which is smaller than a tanker. Almost every property has at least a tanker load which can be offloaded. They have the sum. 15,000 million liters of water can be stored in Bangalore. Can we implement this? The easiest way to convince people to divert their roof water after filtration into that. This is a number which very difficult for any person or a planner can think of. You know why? This is 10 days water requirement of Bangalore, which is stored in private storage places at each and every one. And these are dotted throughout Bangalore. The entire map, if you see that, it gets totally colored because of these storage places. And if rainwater goes into that, do you think there is city water problem? 6 months, absolutely, they don't need any other water if they have a tank like this and divert the water. Second one, every year there is so much of news about the flooding. Do you think the water will come on the stormwater drain on the road to flood? Never. This is simple and it's already there. The laws are there. On the other hand, see this BWSSB, Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board. I'll come to the number which Hari want to share about the electricity consumption. But what is the storage they have? I know every location. I can give you on the map the storage places of BWSSB. They are called GLRs, the ground level reservoirs, and CMCs have overhead tanks, totaling to 763 million liters. And maybe they have added couple of them. You know how much is the storage? Less than 1 day storage Bangalore has. My God, I pray God nothing should happen. Yeah. Something happens to the supply system. Bangalore will go dry, the entire Bangalore will go dry in 12 hours time. There is no water which is stored anywhere to see that there is 1 day supply. From the river, it has to be pumped, and most of these storage places called GLRs, ground level reservoirs or OITs, have just a transit point of pipe. Water comes in, water goes out. They will never get filled. No tanks gets filled, and no water is stored. Rainwater harvesting, 10,000. My God, this is what is happening. Can you imagine the total kind of storage which we talk about, and then where is the storage? Pressure boosters for homes and apartments. Oh, this is another waste. On one hand, we are trying to see that the next 2-3 points which I say, water saving tanks, you have aerators and many other these ones, pressure regulators and all that. And left and right pressure boosters for homes and apartments have been promoted in such a fashion. There more pressure, more water is dispensed, and luxury is at the peak. That's because you see the small box what I am showing you. This is one of the culprit. The cost of water is not realized by anybody. Almost free water to everyone. Bangalore supplies at the rate of around 6 to 7 rupees for 1,000 liters, that is kiloliter, up to 8,000 liters. Then unlimited water supply. You can buy even 1 crore liters of water at whatever the highest rate of 36 rupees per kiloliter in Bangalore. Can we justify this? How do you talk? Hari talks about equitable distribution of our natural resources. Where is it? When somebody has money and if he can buy all this water from Kaveri, half the Bangalore cannot get water. This is the law as of today. Water saving tap vents and aerators on one side we promote, on the other side we are trying to see that there is already a big move to see that there are more jacuzzis and many other, I don't know the names of this. Washing machines use the water for flushing. What a fantastic thing. Next slide, I will show you what is happening. It's the best thing to happen. RO reject management. Most of the RO plants have no reject management. Whether it's a public use, you go to any ward, there are more than 200 wards in Bangalore, that each ward has several dozens of these RO plants. I don't know why they have been built, and everybody says that yes, they need that. When a city utility which can supply water which is better than any of the bottled water, whichever brand name you take, I can watch BWSSB water is good. Maybe there is some contamination at the local level, but the quality has been maintained well. When we have that kind of quality of water, 1,450 million liters which is being transported and supplied, why do we need these RO plants? Where nearly around 60, 70, 80% of the water goes down the drain. And where does it go? The water comes from the borewell and the rejects goes back to the soil. Can we use it for a better purpose? At least suppose if you have in your house, because people have taken for fancy to have RO plants in every home. They don't believe any water, whether it is bottled water or anything. It has to go through your RO system. The rejects, can we use it for mopping and housekeeping and other things? Yeah, there's a good demand, good need for that. Reprocessed water for building construction, industrial use and other things. You can definitely, there are ways which have been shown and can do that. See this picture. This from my book called Rain Dance and the Rooftop, where today I picked it up and say that if you see the domestic usage in any house, this is the pattern you follow. The washing machine water is 22% and the toilet use flush is 27%. Can you see some correlation here? If you see the water which is used by washing machine which comes out, it's just soap water. There is not much dirt. Of course, we don't go to the fields to work so much now or clothes. That water with the detergent, if you use it for flushing, it is the best thing to do because you don't need other detergent to clean your toilet bowl. I have been doing it from the last 28 years. My family has been pushed to do all this. I will tell you later about these things. Can you see here? 50% of the water in the house, any domestic home, can be easily recycled without much of a very sophisticated treatment plants are in. Simple things like this. Of course, you can have a plumbing system to do flushing and all that, but the concept is same. Kitchen water for gardening and other things. Most of you know that the plants are better off with such masala water which comes from the kitchen. RO reject, which I talked about. What is the strategy for any city? Why Bangalore? We can have something like 50% of the water coming from a dam and a river because our density of usage or the concentration has gone up. So you have to depend on dam, river, lakes, and such kind of thing. So other users can we afford to neglect these things? Rooftop rainwater harvesting, 20% can definitely, very easily. These are figures which can get. Groundwater which can be extracted through various sustainably, recharge it to the ground, take it out. It's like your fixed deposits. At least 10% can be reused back. Every home, every apartment, every utility, wherever it is, can we use this sustainably. On the other hand, what are we looking at to our service providers? Bangalore water supply is 1,415 million liters, which comes to Bangalore. 41% is unaccounted for. This is from their own books. 41% is unaccounted for. 35% is domestic. That means more than what we use in our domestic sector is nobody knows where it goes. And another fact is there are two kinds of losses. One is the loss from the reservoir or the river, like Shiva Anekatu or where they take the water, and comes all the way to Bangalore, where there are large GLRs, ground level reservoirs. In between, there is loss which is only 2.5 to 3%. That means bulk of the losses are within the city, and I don't know where, how these things. Of course, Hari talked about my house. 94, I built this house. My family and we took a decision, we will not take water connection, and the house has to be built using rainwater. House construction. 1 year before that, I sat on the empty plot of 40 feet by 60 feet. Every day, whenever it rains, I went and measured how much it rains and how much water percolates in a square meter of area, how this can be stored in the groundwater, and what is the groundwater level and all. It's now the long story. Close to 3 decades, my family in this house, we depend on 100% rainwater for all our needs, and we use only around 100 units of power, 80 to 100 kilowatt hour, the units of electricity for all our luxury. That's because various other factors which we can from that date. This house is just an example because I have nearly around 1,50,000 homes in Bangalore to sudden from this 100% rainwater without any other supply to few whatever the percentage from the rain to the city supply or borewells. We have the homes 1.5 lakh homes. Revised building by what utilities and the city managers can do. 2003 itself, BBMP made the building bylaw, and then I was part of that. And many of you sitting here may be part of this or who supported this. The building bylaw of the city had this. Then the incentive schemes through this RDPR and other, even for the rural area, 2005, we had 20% tax rebate for anybody who does rainwater harvesting anywhere in Karnataka in the rural area. These are some of these examples where we have been rainwater harvesting, because 84% of our rural population had borewell water which has high fluoride content and other contaminants in it. These were the simple examples. Some of these tanks have not gone dry in several, close to 8 to 10 years, because they use it only for drinking and cooking this rainwater from their own. They generate their own water. Government shows the way. Yes, we said that before, showing, making others to do and having very strict measures. Let us have some examples across the city. From Vidhan Sauda, we have done rainwater harvesting. Even today, it has been used. High Court, Karnataka, many such. Rainwater harvesting must from BWSSP stepped in 2009. Yes, from that day till now, we have very good examples and the policy to do rainwater harvesting. First, all the water supply utility buildings of Bangalore have rainwater harvesting. Before telling others, we should have. And whoever visits these places should know what is rainwater harvesting in different forms. There are a dozen kinds of filters developed by various people for rooftop rainwater, and they're all installed in these places. And groundwater recharge, and they use the water and then show. Even this is an example I can show you. We did not spare even the GLRs, ground level reservoirs dotted across Bangalore. We harvested water from their own rooftop, filtered it, and pumped it back to the same reservoir where the Kaveri water is mixed. And then now in Bangalore, we have a blend of Kaveri water and to a certain extent rainwater supply. Chief Minister's home office, Krishna, has rainwater harvesting. And many people, even foreign dignitaries, come here and we have rainwater harvesting in that. Examples. And yes, country's first rainwater harvesting theme park came into existence in 2012 in Bangalore, Jayanagar, and this is the one. And there is enough information available, enough examples. There are training programs. Over 2,380 plumbing contractors, architects, engineers have been trained in city of Bangalore, where there are only 200 wards or something like that. There's enough information, enough this one, enough push to do all this. But how far we can walk? Yes, Hyderabad example of theme park, and Kanpur example of theme park. There are many others, because when I was speaking to Suresh yesterday, I told there are many agencies which are joined. It's not one individual or one organization or one utility. There are so many angles to this problem where we have answers. UNDP, the entire Northeast, all the states, plus Himalayan belt, we did very good skill development programs using local material and harvested water for their daily drinking. Can we have something called as a porous city concept? We should. Now, most of the cities are becoming impervious. They are not porous at all. Totally cement, concrete and all that. Every house should have a small rainwater harvesting pit or a tank to store water. Any avenue tree should have, anywhere in the city, should have a basin to harvest rainwater percolating. Can all the footpaths, walkpaths, paved areas of the city have porous city concept, something like this? There are many designs available. I can show you half a dozen of them, and several kilometers. This is in Jayanagar, a few kilometers we have done uh, the footpaths where, and yes, some of the projects Hari also have done. The left one is taken from his own Hariharan's this one. The pavers with holes where the water percolates and other things. And there are many large multinational companies and our software parks and other things where they have huge paved areas, including airports. This is some of the example in one of the big giant of Bangalore, the software company. The paved area, water goes into a collection system. From there, it goes into the groundwater recharge system. So from an individual home to the stormwater drain, I'm not sharing some of the pictures where we have trenches at every 50 meters intervals. And from all these places, can we have a city which is porous? City water crisis, shall we join hands to resolve? The answer, yes. Thanks to every home in Bangalore who have done rainwater harvesting and for promoting their neighbors also. Institutions like ASC, IAC, Indo-Norwegian Program, BBMP, RDPR, BWSSP, Hyderabad Water Supply Board, Kanpur Development Authority, UNDP, UNESCO. All these people, they have some commitment, and definitely there is enough material, whether it's a policy, a technology, or willingness to work, and a finance required. But where are we erring?